What's going on, guys? How's it going? I have a feeling I have some audio issues. I think I have audio issues. I think you're only hearing audio from a camera. Hang on. Let's get this fixed. Test. What is going on here? I had everything all sorted out, guys, and here we go. Yeah, wrong mic. Definitely wrong mic. What happened? We'll get this sorted out. At least I'll try to. Okay. It was rusty. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Okay. I'm just gonna have to add a source from the start. But how you guys doing? Welcome, welcome. It's been a while. Almost Christmas. Hope everyone's all set for Christmas. Oh, I got some fun stuff too for the kids. Super pumped, super excited. Okay, audio capture. I need to add a new output device, and it is the Rodecaster. Yeah, it's picking up the Rodecaster chat. So that's going to be it's like a different channel. No, not you. I've had this issue too where I was doing stuff for clients where we're recording but they're doing like remote podcasting, and there's been some issues sometimes with the Rodecaster, which is really frustrating. So I need to go onto my virtual sliders here, and let's look at my faders. Let's bring this one in, and is that coming through? That's not coming through. Still coming through the camera. All right, let's try that one. And where did that go? No, we're canceling Christmas. Christmas is canceled. I got so much stuff to talk about too today, guys. Hang on, I'll get there. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Oh, that was audio. Okay. So, okay. New road. Put that in there. And it's not coming through. What the hell? It should be, but it's not. Okay. So, let's edit this. Oh, I think a few, a few. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We'll get this. Let's try this one. And oh, I think we have something here, guys. How's this? How we are cooking. All right. So there something switched with the whole road thing, but anyways, we're here. Was it the fader? Yeah, it was the wrong input device. It was saying it wasn't taking the whole Rodecaster, but it was taking like this output chat from the Rodecaster. It just has to do because I set up some weird mix minuses as well too. So I think now, anyways, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're here. How's it going? Super pumped. Yeah. All right. 2025. Oh my God. Spectacular fails and some spectacular wins. So I'm really excited to talk about it. Really excited to let you guys know what's going on for 2026 and how things are going to be moving forward. Missing you guys, missing doing these live streams. Always so much fun. Even when there's never anyone here, it's still a blast. Still love doing it. So let's get into it. Now, how are my sharing screens? Are these even going to be working? This should be working. Okay. So here we go. Spectacular. Oh, and the comments. I gotta get the comments. Pixel Pieces was 2025, so that was. I didn't even put that into the deck as a fail. I should put that in. Mike is gone. Oh yeah, Mike is gone. Yep, right. I have to add it in. How do I add it in? Unhide all. Okay, hang on a second. How do I add this back in here? Okay. It's right there. But then when I go here, I just need to I have to add an existing source. Okay. Here we go. And mute this one. Okay. Should be back. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah, Kevin, you said Pixel Piece is a spectacular fail of 2025. Yes, it was. And I've it's so crazy. I didn't even think of putting it on this little slide deck presentation that I have here. But that is definitely in. But we'll go first and foremost. We'll talk about the biggest loss of 2025. And that was my 50 pounds in 50 days. Absolutely horrible. And what was I saying? I was saying comments. How do I got to turn my comments on. Because I remember I had issues with that before. And where is it? Should be Ninja Chat. And I think it's working. Yeah, it's not the nicest looking chat, but it's there, right? Like Mike is gone. You can see some stuff. I definitely it's the the basic chat thing, but anyways, it's there. Okay. So, and how do I get out of it? Yeah. So Pixel Pieces, I guess we'll talk about that in a second, but all right. Let's get into the 50 pounds in 50 days. So everything was going well with that. I think I ended up losing 10 or 15 pounds. And then I got injured yet again. And this was crazy because I got injured from walking too much, which was insane. So I got plantar fasciitis or what have you on my foot, where basically any kind of walking is like super painful. And I'm still dealing with it right now because it's taken forever to heal. And like doing rollings and muscle massages and all stretching, strengthening, all kinds of stuff. But that knocked me out, and then I just got into the usual things that usually happen to me is when one thing fails, it's like a domino effect where things kind of spiral out of control, where it's okay, well, now I can't exercise anymore. And then I got off track with how well I was eating, and then I lost track of how much I was sleeping because I was working more and I was trying to get things with the business. So finding that balance has been something that I've always struggled with and I'm still struggling with, and I'm really trying to figure it out. And I'm hopeful that 2026 is finally going to be the year where I could put everything together and to find that balance of maintaining a proper health and building a sustainable business. Because at the end of the day, I talk about this in my podcast all the time, is that if you're going to build a business and you're going to get rich or whatever the case may be, what's the point if you can't even enjoy it, right? If I can't even take the time and go for a walk with my family because I'm in pain, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's stupid, but yet it's like the most important thing. So super important. So that was the biggest fail, one of the biggest fails in 2025. And I guess we could talk about Pixel Pieces as well. One of the reasons I don't think of it as so much of a failure in that I learned quite a bit about what it is about myself that I actually enjoy doing. And although I know web design and I know it pretty well, it's just wasn't something for me. And continuing to go down that route of trying to build something that I wasn't 100% enthusiastic about, or that I didn't really have my heart wasn't in it. It was a win in that case that it helped steer me into the right direction, which I think is kind of important. It's it's hard to say though, because if you literally have no money and no income, you have to do what you have to do. And if you're good at something, and then sometimes you just have to. It's like the thing in Shawshank Redemption. You got to crawl through the river of shit in order to get to the other side. Sometimes you just have to do that. So thankfully, I'm in a position where I don't have to do that because I have. Well, I guess I kind of am, because most of my clients are web design clients that are helping me pay getting to this new phase. But I guess a little bit of a little bit of an aside there. Okay, so next slide. Win number one. Let's go on to the wins. Enough of the negative stuff. We're going to get to the weight loss stuff and whatever in the future. But for now, let's focus on a couple of the really big wins. And number one, that is developing a brand new revenue stream. Now, if you don't know what the revenue stream is, it's opening up Pixel Studio or Pixel as a studio where people can come in and it's basically a podcast studio. It's this studio that's right here behind me. And if you've seen the podcast, that's it. It's a place where people can come in, rent out this space, record their own content. It doesn't even have to be a podcast. It's just whatever content. And we can either edit it for you or they can take the files home themselves, what have you. So in that span, I can't remember when I actually opened up the studio, like for people. Like I started the podcast in February, but I don't know if you guys remember, was it April or May of this? Oh, maybe Pixel Pieces was in 2024, now if I think about it. And we kind of transitioned. Anyways, what was I saying? Right. I don't know if it was like April or May when I opened up the studio and kind of put the website, but either way, I've done zero marketing. I've no ads, nothing. And people have just kind of gone on the website and started booking. And so total revenue, $12,105 through podcasting. So let's break that down a little bit. And why I think this is so promising is because I've always said that this year, 2025, was just let's validate the idea if people are going to want to use the studio to create content, right? Like, are people even going to want to pay for this? It's incredible. I like it blew my mind because I was thinking like, okay, maybe there'd be a couple people or whatever. I make a couple $100 and then maybe we'll kind of go from there. But it's been more than that. Yeah. So how much was repeat business? Okay. So, and yeah, is this a break even? No, this is just net like profit or revenue. But I mean, I already had the equipment, right? I mean, I do reinvest the money into other equipment, but really that was just straight profit. So, because everything I already had. So let's dive into it here. Gotta click here. Okay. So in the studio rental for people coming into this space to rent, I made $8,715 from that, which again, that just blows my mind. And actually what I'll showcase, if we go, I think we can do it here. I have this all set up for this, but we'll get into this in a second. Let's go. So the way I even started when I first launched the website, I think it was $100 per hour. So you could book for 150, for the 1.5 hour, but I quickly ramped it up to 150 an hour. So it's 225. And then I remember putting this in with this studio package and I was like, okay, if I sell this, fantastic. But I don't think anyone's going to buy it. I've sold 3 studio packages so far and it just blows my mind. So totally unexpected, but just loving it. And in terms of how much repeat business, I think there is like people that do come. Yes, they do repeat, but there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know exactly offhand, but we're talking between 7 and 8 people that have come into the studio to rent, and then like whether it's repeat or not or what have you. So some of them have been single. I think so far 2 people have been single and everyone else has been repeat customers. So, which is good because once I get a customer, it's like they retain and they come back for more because they're like, I need to make more content, right? So it's like, it's this recurring thing where it's like a website, right? They build the website, unless you have them on retainer for updates and all that and maintenance and whatever the case may be. But I feel that's a lot harder of a sell. Whereas for content, because I haven't sold anything. People know why they need content. People know that if they want a podcast, they know that they need a place to film it. It's just like it sells itself, and it's so great. The most important metric is how useful has Notion been? Notion is becoming, I'm not going to say it's becoming a key part of my business because it's not, but it is very useful because I'm using it to track expenses, although some expensive because mostly I'm using like QuickBooks for all the like actual expense tracking and taxes and all that stuff. But I have it as my knowledge base and I've shared some stuff with a few people already. And it's going to be something that's going to be really handy when I start bringing other people on board to help out with the direction I want to bring the company in, which we'll get to in a minute. It's going to be like that home base for people to be able to share the things that we use within the company. So, editing services, this is basically kind of new because I haven't been pushing this at all. And there's still more here actually that hasn't even hit the books. So this is just what has hit the books. There's stuff that's actually in production right now. So it's kind of even more than this, but I just want to be like pretty clear. I mean, I guess I could be lying, I guess technically to you guys, but just trust me, bro. These are true. But it's something that I'm not sure if I even really want to offer editing. At least I wasn't initially. But so far that's made just under $2,000 with editing. So most people are just getting their content and then they're just doing their own thing. But again, I haven't been pushing this, but it's people now are starting to realize the potential and the opportunities that are available to them within the studio. And the events, and this is just, I put this in for the whole podcasting in general, I did a 2-day thing where I was actually like a podcast host at an event here locally. And so that's kind of part of the whole Pixel podcast studios or what have you. So I think a part of this too is if you want any kind of consulting services for podcasting or what have you, that's going to be available within Pixel. So yeah, but Notion, love it. Notion is good. It's just finding the right way that it works for me. And the thing is too is I want to minimize the amount of tools and software that I use because it's so crazy important. But yeah, so okay, a breakdown of how things are going, and this has been a long time coming to really trying to figure out like clarity and focus in terms of my business. And it's really saying that I actually have 2 companies, and these are, although they're super interrelated, but I need to start thinking them as 2 completely different companies. There's the Unconventional Mindset, which is a podcast, which I'll kind of put into the kind of a lifestyle type business, right? Personal brand type business. And then there's Pixel Media, which is the content production studio. And of course, Pixel Media helps fuel everything that the Unconventional Mindset is doing. And the idea between separating the 2 is that Pixel Media can be a vehicle to help me create my brand, my podcast, but it could also be a vehicle to do that for other people as well too. So once I do it for myself, there's much more opportunities to help other people do the same thing. So which we'll get into. So again, remembering back to my whole why of what it is that I'm trying to do. Excuse me, I said this a million times before, but I keep saying it. It's to inspire people to become the best versions of themselves. I'm trying to do that, doing it live in real time for the most part. Just talked about my failure of trying to lose weight. I'm going to be trying that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep doing it until I get there. Like, don't stop until I win or I die. One or the other. And I think we can all do the same thing. I want everyone to do whatever they can to make their life how they want it to be. That's my mission. That's my goal. And the how goes into creating the podcast, talking to other people that have done that, talking to people that have the experience. Like today's podcast was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, check it out with Amin. And he bought his first companies. Like he taught himself how to buy companies, and he bought one. And now he has, I don't know exactly how many he has, but in 2026, he's going to be surpassing 9 figures in revenue, which is like over $100 million in revenue across his portfolio of companies. And to go from that 0 to that in the span of 5 years, it just blows my mind. And to be able to talk to these people and form relationships with them, it's just phenomenal. And it just goes for me, talking to these people and people that I've sat across that have been really successful. It's like we're all just people, and everyone has the opportunity to unlock these things, especially being born in North America. I mean, we have all the opportunity in the world, and it's up to all of us to seize it, right? And to give people the inspiration, motivation. I don't know. I think it still needs to come from within. You have to want to do it at the end of the day, but to be able to showcase people that yes, you can do it. That's, I don't know. It's just my purpose. It's just what it is. So call me cheesy, but that's what I believe in. So what are my goals around that? Of course, it's to grow the podcast, #1 podcast in Canada. That's goal number 1. Goal number 2 will be the biggest podcast in the world. But let's do small steps, right? I could even say first goal is to be the #1 podcast in Nova Scotia, but I don't even know how to gauge that. And then the second goal is to build a community of like-minded people. And that we can all work together to help ourselves to reach, our full potential. So we'll talk about kind of how we're going to do that, or how we plan to do that. Anyways, okay. So what does all of this mean now? Is according to my goals and my vision and my mission, I want to be able to dedicate like all my time and energy towards growing Unconventional Mindset. That's what I would love to do. But right now, the Unconventional Mindset, as again a standalone business, it makes zero money. I don't bring in any ad revenue. I don't have any sponsorship deals. Nobody pays to come on my show. Nothing, right? But on the other hand, we have Pixel Media, and that is what's bringing in the money right now. And that I kind of consider, at least right now, to be like my day job, right? So that helps fund everything for me to be able to do Unconventional Mindset. So what I need to do, so like two options, right? Is I need to figure out how I can build Pixel Media into something that I can own. It's my asset. This is Ann talking about the episode a couple weeks ago with Luke about building a portfolio of assets that cash flow and just bring you in some revenue. Build it in a way that it can run without me and generate cash flow, and that it just works, which means I'm gonna have to figure out how I can bring in other people to help me run that part of the business so that I can just figure out how to directly work on the Unconventional Mindset. So that's one option. The other option could be to say, okay, you know what? Forget about building Pixel Media, but what if I could just generate money through Unconventional Mindset as is? If it just starts generating money, next month, and I could start getting 10 grand a month, okay, maybe I don't need to build Pixel Media. So both options are good. Right now, I'm considering both of them, and I'm doing both of them at the same time because, again, they're so intertwined that I need Pixel Media to be able to make every episode, right? Like they're so intertwined. But we'll see how things are going to go moving forward into if I should I keep going with Pixel Media, or do I need to just abandon it and go with Unconventional Mindset? And I don't think so, because I think just showing the numbers of what I've made last year by doing nothing and people just kind of coming in and like the word of mouth, I guess it's just amazing. Anyways, like building it into something that's self-sustaining is going to be perfect. And what's so great about it is that I could find people from all over the world who are interested in storytelling or editing is going to be the main thing. Like if you're a video editor, hey, if you're watching this and you're into video editing and you're going to be looking for work, let's get in touch because that's what I'm going to be looking for. So anyways, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Something about, so if I could build that team remotely, except for maybe somebody coming here to like be the project manager, managing the office space or whatever it is, if we get commercial real estate or whatever to have the studio in. But other than that, like I don't need to, it operates itself. I already have lots of things in Notion, standard operating procedures, what to do when somebody comes in, how to set up the cameras, how to deliver the audio files and the video files to the client, like all those things. It's like, it's not rocket science, this stuff here. So, it's good. I like it. So both options are good. I was just okay. So let's talk about option one, Unconventional Mindset. So I've narrowed it down, at least at the start, to start thinking about 3 buckets of revenue generation potentially for this. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. So number 1, of course, is building some type of community membership program. And I've been thinking a lot. Rolando's not here because I know he's going to yell at me if I do anything, give anything away for free. But there's a lot of different types of courses and stuff that I'm thinking about putting together. One about podcasting, it could be like how to build a website, things that, if you're trying to build a business, skills that you might need. But I'm thinking of bundling that all up into some type of community. And I think the messaging here is a little bit tricky because there's lots of different things I'm working on. Of course, right now it's all about business, but there's other things that I love to think about as well too, right? When it comes to health and fitness, when it comes to developing skills, when it comes to having meaningful relationships in your life, that's all part of living, your best life. But anyways, it's a question of positioning, but I'm imagining a membership where, everyone that's trying to improve their lives, everyone that's trying to build a business can get together, and there could be workshops that are either run by like myself or other people that have been on the podcast or other experts in their field can come together, have these workshops, develop really high production, high value courses, have office hours, have business deep dives, every month go through the numbers of like, okay, I'm building Pixel Media, right? Let's dive really into the weeds, into the strategies, into the tactics, show what's working, show what's not working, and really dive deep into what it's like to build a business. Behind the scenes stuff, offline, there's a whole, have forums where people, like-minded people can get together and just chat. I really want to do something like that because I think that really fits into my why, and it really fits into how I can help other people. I mean, it seems a little bit crazy, and then like, oh, well, then you're just going to sell a membership and like you're going to get paid for it. But it's like, you got to make money in some way. So I don't think I should feel bad about that. But then I also think that, well, 95% of all the content I have is going to be for free anyways. Like just watching the podcast alone is like everything that I'm doing is I'm kind of learning from them. So if you just watch every episode, you could like take all that knowledge and all that experience and value and like pop it into your own life. But yeah, anyway, so that's just my own little mental blocks that I have to get over in terms of being okay to charge for certain things and to creating things. But I think that's going to be the number one way to build. And I'm excited about that. I think it's going to make sense. And it's going to be something that's going to be a little bit more than just like a Slack channel or a Discord channel. It's going to really be a place where people can get together and find everything. So it'll probably be on some kind of, Circle platform or something like that. So, anyways, I'm really excited about that. Okay. The second avenue of generating revenue would be podcast sponsorships. So again, not very big. We'll take a look into the analytics here in a minute. But it's not something that I foresee happening anytime soon. And I'm also very, very, very finicky about this. And I would not take on a sponsorship unless it's something that, like that I use every single day, that I would vouch for, even if, I wouldn't be paid for, right? Like the gear that I use, right? I don't know. Like if, it never happened, but like if Sony came in and be like, use Sony cameras. I love Sony cameras, but I'm also like, use whatever cameras you want. Anyways, I don't know. I'm just saying I would be, if Amazon came in, I'd be like, no, I don't like Amazon. Why would I sponsor that stuff? Right. So, or if it's, something that goes against what I'm trying to preach in a sense. Right. So anyways, but it's an option. YouTube ad revenue, that would be another one. Not because I actually want to put ads on there, because I think with YouTube, if you get to a certain point where you can have ads, even if you say don't put ads, from what I know, I could be wrong about this, but YouTube rolls ads on your content anyways, and then you just won't get paid for it. So you might as well turn it on. So I turn it on and have the lowest ad setting possible. But it's an option. If I want to get really big to be the number one podcaster in Canada, that's going to be some serious eyeballs on the YouTube video. So that could be a way to generate some additional revenue. So anyways, those are 3 different things that I'm thinking about. So option 2, growing Pixel Media. And there's some things that I'm going to be doing, and we'll probably live stream this actually, because we're going to actually getting into building maybe other tools like within Webflow to integrate some type of calendar booking system or what have you. So anyways, because that's going to be interesting. But that being said, there's 3 kind of things that Pixel Studio are going to be able to do for our clients. And really right now we're focusing on level 1 and 2, not focusing, but that's what people are paying for right now, I should say. But potentially level 3 is where kind of the real money could potentially be had. Okay. So what do we do right now? This is where most people are at. They just want to come in to use the space and they want to record content. So they come in, $150 an hour, record their stuff, and then they leave. Great. No problems there. Level 2 would be content editing. So you come into the studio, you record your stuff, but then you hand it off to us and then we edit, right? And so I have here between $500 to $1,000 per hour of studio time. So generally if somebody's going to come in and book, because you could only book an hour and a half is the minimum you could book. So if somebody comes in for an hour and a half, I usually say it's going to be between $650 and like $1,000, including the studio time, to like chop up their content. Some people want like 10 shorts within an hour. Some people, it's just like a couple podcasts, or some people just one podcast. Like it all depends, right? Or it could be educational courses as well too, which gets chopped up. So there's lots of different ways that it can be chopped up, but and I don't like charging per like, oh, if it's a podcast, is this, it's like, it's not really about that. It's just kind of like, how much footage do I have to go through? And it all takes kind of around the same amount of time. So I just charge like, okay, well, I do think a little bit about what is it that they want in terms of how difficult they want the edits. But anyways, that's the rough thing. So that's obviously a good income stream if we were getting consistent people coming in that want editing services. And that would be me doing a better job at actually upselling or selling my services. But because again, no advertising, no marketing, I'm not doing anything, right? People say, I want this, and I'm like, great. So, but if I really start promoting stuff, then I think, hiring an editor to be able to take on all this extra income that's coming in from, and extra work that's coming in from these customers, that could be a really, really good thing. Level 3, which kind of would be the ultimate, and I have here, this is, I remember putting this stuff on the website before, but taking it down and taking it down because I'm not quite ready for this yet, but it's wanting to have some kind of strategic partnership with a larger company that's generating, like, maybe I'll put some disclaimers like, hey, if you're not generating at least $1 million in revenue every year, then maybe this service isn't for you. But it's for somebody that wants to consistently make content and build themselves a brand online, and they have no idea how to do that, right? So, it's basically like this bespoke service for content creation, and we'll basically take care of everything in terms of how to make the content, what content to make, how to publish it, all that kind of stuff, right? And so it would be like on a retainer type of basis where it'd be charged anywhere between 5, 10, it might even be like up to 20,000 a month. Depends on the client, depends on how much content they want to pump out. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. And there's already a couple people that are interested in this as well too. So it's very interesting. So stay tuned for that. All right. So I want to talk about win number 2, which of course is the actual growth of the podcast. And I had set out some initial goals of how big I wanted the show. And that was really just about, okay, well, let me just get to YouTube monetization. So is that on the next slide actually here? Yeah. So I didn't quite get there, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, but we actually didn't do so bad. Before I get to that, let's go into this right now. Let's go look at some analytics. So let's just refresh this okay. So I love looking at this graph, 180. That is not a lot of downloads. Okay. So let's be clear on that, but I'm super happy with this, not because of the number, but look at the trajectory of growth, right? And if you look at this, like, I think Chris Williamson said this, where he's like, every time it's like a 6-month interval, it's like, that's when I gained the most subscribers. Like 80% of my subscribers have always been in the last 6 months. So it's like that exponential growth. And that's what I'm seeing. At least this is what this is, very encouraging of how this looks like, right? This growth. So I'm loving how this looks. And this is just the audio download version of the show. So if I look at Spotify, we have Spotify here, which again, 70 plays. That's not a lot of plays for sure, but 21 consumption hours, 8 followers. Not so bad. Not so bad. I have Apple Analytics here. I don't know, because this is supposed to include Apple, like Apple Podcasts, how many people have downloaded it. So I don't even really know what to make of this. But again, this is not very much. 12 listening hours. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of this. So I don't really pay much attention to this one, to be honest. I really just look at Buzzsprout and Spotify. And then we have YouTube. So this, of course, is our main channel of how we want people to consume our content and our podcast. And I'm really happy with this. So we've had 2.4 thousand views of our podcast, and we've had over 600 watch hours of just people just hanging out with me, which is super, super cool. And another great stat is if I look at average view duration, it's 15 minutes, which is pretty good considering the average episode, or the episodes are around an hour in length, maybe a little bit more. So that means people are watching at least a quarter of it, I guess, like on average. So should this be higher? I really don't know. So we're gonna have to kind of play around with it and see how things progress. But these are pretty good. Like I'm really I'm really happy with this. Again, starting from zero. Would I love to have more subscribers? Absolutely would love to have more subscribers. 49 is really, really low. And these are one of the things that I need to work on by asking people to, whether it's in the intro or whatever, please subscribe, please like, and all that kind of stuff. So I need to do better at that for sure. But I'm really happy with it. So things are going really, really well. And I know by next year, for sure, we're going to get to this goal. So really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. Okay, so I just want to end here with some takeaways, which I think are really, really important. So, because even though I haven't grown the podcast to the size that I wanted to, here's what's really good. Like my personal network is growing, and I'm making some real connections with real people. I saw it sounds cheesy and like a Hallmark card, but it's true. And in one of my earlier podcasts, we said your network is your net worth. And I think it's so true. The opportunities that has opened up from just meeting people and being introduced to other people and then being introduced to more people, it's just, it's been fantastic. So it's very, very important. And I'm learning really fast. And I have here written down, I'm learning faster than I can implement because like I'm learning so much. I can't keep up with trying to implement those things that I'm learning into my business. I have them written down and I know there's things that in terms of roadmaps of how I want to go, but it's difficult to keep up, which is a good thing because I'm learning a lot. And kind of like I was saying about networking is that the more I put myself out there and the more my message is getting out there, it's connecting with like-minded people and people that understand my message, believe in the message, and they themselves are trying to figure out how they can live their best life. And they believe in the why. They have their own internal why that's very similar. And we can get together and form like real bonds and real connections and friendships, which has been phenomenal. And I've also found that this is the right path for me, at least for right now, to be able to take my vision and bring it to life. Kevin, we were talking a little bit before about Pixel Pieces and how that just wasn't the right way for me. This is the right way. It's something that I wake up in the morning and, not every day is like, oh, the greatest day ever. Because it's like, oh, well, I got to do some editing or what have you. It's kind of like, oh, I just got to sit down on the computer again. But overall, it's the right way because I wake up and I'm like, today somebody's going to listen to the episode and their life is going to change. They're going to make the decision to stop being reliant on other people and start building their own thing. And that fills me with a tremendous sense of satisfaction. So very, very happy about that. And that's the recap. That's a recap for 2025 and also a glimpse into what's going to happen in 2026. Really focusing on unconventional mindset and building a community around that and spinning off Pixel Pieces into this own self-sustained business that can help support all the work that I do for the unconventional mindset and support other people who have similar visions in trying to create a brand and create content to help them propel their business as well too. So two birds with one stone, very, very similar, but also very, very distinct and different. So that's where I'm at. And I'm really looking forward to where things are going to go with 2026. I already have a phenomenal group of guests lined up, ready to go. That's going to be amazing. Looking forward to continuing to make podcasts and also trying to figure out how to be consistent with this live stream as well too. I love doing this. It's so much fun. But again, I want to make sure that I'm not just coming on to just ramble about nothing and just waste everyone's time. Like I really want to make sure that it brings value to you guys. And, that I'm not just wasting my time just kind of rambling on. So, I want it to serve a purpose. And tying it in with the community is going to be like for the unconventional mindset, I think is going to be the way to go. And then we're talking about business. We're getting together. We're figuring things out, and we're learning together. And it's all going to make for a really fun time for everyone. So looking forward to that. All right. Thank you for watching. I'd love to know if you're watching this in the future. What is the thing that you want the most in your life that you've been too afraid to start? I'd really like to know. And I'd really like to know, like, what's actually stopping you from achieving it or attempting to achieve it. I'd really love to know. Let me know. All right, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Have a great rest of your year. Have a great 2026. I'm not one for making New Year's resolutions. Just go out and do what you need to do. I don't care what day it is. Don't wait. Just start now, not, January 1. But 'tis the season. So Happy New Year. I don't know. Take care. All the best. And we'll see you around next time.